Okay, today we are comparing an FTH board, 1 3/4 inch checkers, 23 incher versus a club sized Gammoner board, 20.5 inches, and with the 1 3/4 inch checkers as well. So the main question, well, I was curious about is the Gammoner twice the board that the FTH is? Because the price seemed to indicate that. This FTH cost, well, it used to, I don't know if they raised their prices, but it was $7.99, free shipping, I believe. Versus, and it's available immediately. Whatever they have on gammonstuff.com, they'll ship it right to you. You'll have your board within a week. As opposed to this German made, well, they're both made from Germany. As opposed to the Gammoner, where you have to wait 8 to 9 months and pay double the price, or even more if you want the king size. For example, king size would run you about $2,000 if you want the king size with the 2-inch checkers. Okay, so both boards have a lot of positives and negatives. The real question is, which is the better board? And well, I'll list factors for both boards, and then I'll do a side-by-side comparison and let you know what my opinion is, whether you should, which one of these should you buy, and most of that's going to come down to your budget. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video and do a little close. Okay, first thing, the FTH board, I've seen about 3 times as many FTH boards as I've seen Gammoners, and without a doubt, the build quality of the FTH is superior to the Gammoner. If you look at the close-ups of the craftsmanship, the seams, the attention to detail, you're not going to see 1 flaw on an FTH board. Okay, so directly comparing the same features, if you look at this FTH, scoot over. Okay, we notice some, no, it's not a major flaw, but if you're paying $1,500 for a board, you're not going to want to see any flaws. And just take a look at this, where the checker trays are. Okay, there's a little bit of gap with this tray, and if we look at over here, no gaps, it doesn't move. Okay, if you go over to the FTH, okay, slight movement, and we see the same slight movement. Okay, so both sides are exactly the same. Okay, you don't see that with the FTH. For like I've said before in my previous videos, I have noticed flaws on the Gammoner. For example, if you look at the tips, I've noticed on one board that one of these tips had, sprung up, so it was sticking up. And to me, that's unacceptable. You're paying, that particular board was $2,000, and it's you're gonna pay $2,000. You expect your board to be perfect. One of the differences might be the reason is because the tips are a little more round here, a little more bold instead of pointy. Okay. Another thing I want to compare is the handle, because over time, the handle on a board, takes a beating. And if you look at the FTH handle, they have rivets on, the actual, this part, I guess, the bracket, I don't know exactly what you would call that, but You see here, they have a rivet. They don't have a screw, because I've seen a lot of people missing handles, and what happens is these screws, whoever, if the manufacturer makes screws, they'll get loosened, and then you'll drop them, and good luck finding one or finding it, and then you have a loose handle, and that's no good. With the Gammoner handle, you see a screw. Okay, so if you do have screws, look at this. You see a little bit of wear already here on this Gammoner. Okay, so that's something that gets overlooked, but a handle is an important part. I've seen some talkie boards where they have to just go with a completely different handle. Let's see. Other differences or comparisons is the weight. I got to give that to the Gammoner. But to be fair, this is a smaller club size board. I don't know if the Traveler or the king size for the Gammoner would be the same amount of weight as the FTH. Another thing I have to give to the Gammoner is the colors they have to choose from. This is a very lovely set, the white with the blue, and then the blue and the white checkers. In case you're wondering, both you could interchange FTH checkers with Gammoner and vice versa. They fit both perfectly. You've never seen, these are their traditional bone. Most FTH boards come with this style or this bone color. They don't really, for the most part, they don't have a really true white, comparing the Gammoner checker. Okay, next comparison deals with the cube. This is a, inexpensive, lightweight cube. It's okay. Not a fancy piece at all. Just a generic. You buy it on Gammon stuff for like $15. The Gammoner has a much more heftier cube. Much more appealing, and this particular one starts with the 1 instead of the traditional 64, so then it goes up to 32. But that's a nice little touch. Okay, and some of you may have noticed that the wool on the Gammoner goes up to the trays. The FTH does not. They only the field is wool, and I don't know if I've had this FTH board for about 1.5 years, and I want to say there's probably an extra layer of wool padding on the Gammoner. It feels softer to me than the FTH. That may or may not be true. Gammoner may use a higher quality type of wool. I don't know. Over time, if you notice, the FTH gets sort of the wear and tear on the wool is a little noticeable. Kind of get like that, cotton ball look to the surface. It's not a big deal to me. It doesn't really affect, the movement of the checkers. So, obviously this is a newer board. I got this about a week ago from Jeff Proctor. He was selling that on eBay. I snatched it up because I didn't want to wait 8 or 9 months, and I got a little bit of a discount on top of that. Okay, so final or to answer the question in the beginning, is the Gammoner twice the board that the FTH is? And in my opinion, it is not. If you're on a budget and you're looking to buy one board and you're having a hard time deciding whether the Gammoner is worth it, if you have the money, I would say get the Gammoner. If you're under if you want the better value, I would go with the FTH board. Um, Another thing about this club side is you don't have to strain yourself quite as much to reach over and grab checkers. You know, with the FTH, you're gonna have to, especially someone if you're playing, someone with shorter arms, you kind of have to struggle to, reach checkers. And some people, for example, love being able to stack 12 checkers across. You can on the FTH with the Gammoner. This one you could only do 11, across. Well, there you have it. One other thing to mention is the FTH, this edition, does not use real leather. Okay, this is a leatherette, but it's a high quality type of leatherette, as opposed to this cheap Del Negro, which I suggest do not buy that. I only have this board as a beater, as a, you know, not caring if it gets damaged or stuff like that. Sometimes I play a chouette with the group, and they're eating and they're drinking, and sometimes food gets spilled on the surface. So that's my beater board, and the leatherette quality on that Del Negro is there. It's awful. It's already peeling. It's trash. So. Okay, so go and then so going back to the Gammoner, they use real genuine leather. They're very careful about the types of leather they pick. It's very soft, smells really good. Um, the I have zero complaints with the leather quality overall. It's a softer leather than the Zaza and Sachi. So right now I'm really in love with this board. It might be my number one board now. That and the Zaza, the 23-inch Zaza. Third place, FTH. But for the value, FTH beats them all. All right. Hope this helped for people who are looking to decide. These are the only companies that make boards with the Merino Wool. They both come serialized. This one is 0065, and the Gammoner is 1905. And one little gimmick, I guess you could call it, that the Gammoner has is this little compartment here for the dice. Okay, one last thing I wanted to mention, dealing with the quality and craftsmanship and just absolute perfect build quality for the FTHs. They both have these corner, metal corner protectors, and then they have these little rivet things here, on each one of these. And I noticed on one of them for the Gammoner, it's missing this little rivet here. You can see this one has it and this one doesn't. Okay, so little details like that is where the FTH just shines. Fazil does an amazing job with the making these boards. One last thing is, you could sit, they have these little, stands or feet, but. And then these hinges are a little bigger on the Gammoner compared to the FTH. All right.